What's up, glitches, and welcome back to Spooky Storytime. If you're new here, my name is Jess. People call me Auntie, and I read your weird and unexplainable stories. All the stories that we read here are true stories that real people send in. So if you're into stuff like glitches in the Matrix, the paranormal, dreams, and aliens, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss a video. Also, make sure to check out my Anti-Matrix merch and all of my other links over at TcV&x.com. The link is down in the description. All the stories that you are about to see were posted last week over on my TikTok, and I've put together a little compilation for you. If you're looking to skip to a specific story, the timestamps are in the description as well. Grab your favorite snack, a comfort item to squeeze, and let's get weird. Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 196, Camping Trip Time Warp. Long ones, sorry, but we love long ones, yes we do. This is going to sound crazy and made up. No one I have told has believed me, but I swear on my life that this happened. We believe you. When I was 17, me and my friends were on a camping trip in Whitby, which is right by the sea in England. There were 4 of us in total. One morning, we all decided to go to the beach that night to see the stars and swim in the ocean, etc. But unfortunately, I started to feel really nauseous when evening came, so I told them just to go without me. The beach wasn't far, and I felt safe enough to stay in the tent alone for an hour or so. They all promised to be no longer than an hour and left for the beach. One of my friends made a video of them all waving goodbye to me and then left her phone in a tent because she didn't want to risk it getting wet or sandy. This is important to remember. I almost immediately fell asleep due to feeling ill, but when I woke up, it felt like I had been sleeping for longer than an hour. I couldn't remember what time they had left, so my phone clock wasn't much use to me until another hour and a half passed. I tried to call them, but my signal had cut out completely. I figured that they were just having lots of fun at the beach and had lost track of time, but after another hour passed, I started to get worried. I didn't feel nauseous at all anymore, but I sure as hell felt sick with anxiety when it turned 1 a.m. I went to ask at the campsite desk lady if she had seen my friends leave, and then she said that they'd left around 8:30. This really freaked me out, so I asked her if she had a way to call the police because I had no signal, but she shut this down instantly. She said the police wouldn't come to the campsite anyway because there had been too many false reports of disappearances. Were they false though? I wanted to go look for them, but she shut this down too, saying it was much too dangerous to walk all the way around the beach alone at this time and that she was sure that they would turn up eventually. I don't know how I feel about this lady. I wish I could say I fought this more, but honestly I was too anxious and freaked out to argue. I was in tears when they finally came back at 3 a.m. They were all really confused when I hugged them and asked where they had been, and they all replied, obviously at the beach. Then they all went on to say they had only been gone an hour and a half and apologized for the extra 30 minutes. I can't even describe how I felt when I checked my phone again and it said 10 p.m. I was practically inconsolable for a while because I was so very confused, so they all decided it was time to go to sleep and we could discuss it properly in the morning. The next morning I explained what happened and how long they had been gone for, but I obviously just sounded crazy. They said that I probably had a fever dream or something because I had felt ill, and honestly I started to believe them. Gaslighters! However, when my friend was looking through her phone, she found a very long video in her camera roll. It turned out when she had taken a video of them all saying goodbye to me, she had accidentally left the video playing. The footage was around 6.5 hours long, most of it being me crying and anxiously walking around the tent and then suddenly ending up when they came back. It shook all of us to our core. I wanted to ask the desk lady questions, but it apparently wasn't her shift for a few days and we all just wanted to go home at this point, especially me. A couple of days after we had left the site, my friend called me frantically saying the video had completely disappeared from her phone, not even in her recently deleted. This whole experience put me off camping for life, and I remember it when I check in the time. It still freaks me out when I think about this too much. Like, I remember this happening. We all do. Oh my god, that was really, really crazy. Wait, hold on. So your friends were gone for like 6 hours, but they only thought they were gone for an hour and a half. And you talked to this front desk lady and you have the video to prove it, but now the video is gone. What do we think happened here? In my brain, I don't like this front desk lady and I feel like she was a bad thing or an alien. I feel like maybe this was an abduction issue. Like, I was gonna say maybe the friends got abducted, right? And then they were put back and they thought they were just coming back 30 minutes later, but they had actually been gone for 6 hours. But then when they came back and they were like, what, we've been gone for an hour and a half, you look at the phone and it's only been an hour and a half. So maybe the time corrected for everybody. That's my best guess. My best guess is that your friends were abducted because that explains like a time loss, but they didn't experience the time loss. Let's read some some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 197. Ouija board story time in an 1800s house. Hi, Auntie Matrix. Hi! I love your story times. I know you've covered Ouija board stories, so I figured I'd share mine. Love a good Ouija board story. This story still gives me chills and sends shivers down my spine to this day. This was about 10 years ago when my friend and I were only 12 years old. I spent almost every weekend with her, and our families were really close. So when her Uncle Pat finished remodeling his new property he got relatively cheap, and he wanted to have a campfire and a cookout night with their immediate family, it wasn't weird for me to just go along. This was the first time both me and Paige were seeing the home. All I know is that it was built in the 1800s and he got it in an estate sale, and it needed a lot of remodeling, but the house was big with a big yard. While roasting s'mores and sitting around the fire, Pat started telling everyone there about experiences he had and how he thinks the house is haunted. He explained how when he was taking a break in the kitchen, he heard something drop and he went in to see all of his tools scattered across the floor. And when he was painting, the roller disappeared 3 separate times and he had to buy new ones. Almost like someone did not want him remodeling the house. We ended up having so much fun that day, and she asked her uncle if we could stay the night, and he said yes. Paige's uncle ended up going to bed and we were in the guest bedroom, and he had tons of board games. We played Uno for a while, and then we noticed a Ouija board. Don't do it! We connected to a spirit almost instantly, and when we asked who it was, the board spelled out doctor. After we asked what kind of doctor, the board spelled out skin. So we assumed the ghost was a dermatologist, and Paige and I were laughing and giggling and asking it regular skincare stuff, girl stuff. Like, what do you do for oily skin? What do you do for dry skin? How do you get rid of acne? The board wasn't answering, and then it started scrambling left to right in all kinds of circles, and I got really mad at my friend and told her she's scaring me and to stop. She said it wasn't her, and she started crying, and we threw the board back in the box, shut it in the closet, and ran downstairs and watched cartoons in the living room until we fell asleep. In the morning at breakfast, we told her uncle what happened, and he said when he was moving things out before he started remodeling that there was a lot of taxidermed animals and things made from animal skin/fur that he had gotten rid of. There was also a weird smell in the garage. He couldn't get rid of it, and that was where the previous owner did taxidermy. The uncle later moved out and sold because of poltergeist activity. I'm wondering if you guys closed out the board or if you have this weird taxidermist spirit following you around. I wonder why I was getting mad that you were asking it questions. I mean, I guess because everything that comes through a Ouija board is evil, right? Is that not right? Maybe it's just because I hear only evil stuff. I don't know. Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 198. I saw a demon in my best friend's room. Hello, I love your TikTok. Hi! I have a few stories I could tell, but here's one that still weirds me out to this day. It's a bit of a long one. Love that long one. When I was 15 years old, me and my best friend at the time saw a demon in her room. Getting right into it. So for some context, we would hang out a lot at her house. Some strange things would happen there that we couldn't really explain, weird noises and such. One time a crow flew into the window of the house, which was shut, while we were in her room, and it instantly died, which I've heard is a bad omen. Yikes. Also, before the event happened that I'm about to explain, something else really strange happened. My mom would drive me to school, and since my friend's parents both left very early for work and wouldn't be home until after school was let out, my mom and I would give her a ride to and from school since we attended the same high school. She was always the last person to leave her house in the morning and the first one to come home. They had a security system, so she would just put in a code to lock and unlock the house. I remember one morning picking her up and watching her lock her house door and setting up the security system by putting in her code. I know for a fact that she did this because I had went up to knock on her door to let her know that we were there, and she came out, locked the door, put in the code, and set up the security system. Later that day, we both got dropped off at her house. I would usually get dropped off as well so that I could hang out with her at her place. We went up to the door and it was already unlocked, which was weird since she had locked it and no one else besides her parents know the code to get inside. We go inside and it's a mess. Things are thrown around and every single cabinet in the kitchen is open and the fridge is open with food spilled out of it. I was gonna say maybe you got robbed, but if the kitchen is fucked with and the cabinets are open, a robber doesn't fucking do that. She had 2 pet dogs and they were outside in the yard running around, fenced in yard thankfully, which means somehow the back door was opened as well. There was also this weird ceramic lizard statue that normally sat on top of the cabinets in the kitchen, which is almost touching the ceiling. You have to get a chair to reach anything up there, but the statue was now in the middle of the kitchen, dead center and upright. What? If it fell, how did it not break and why would it be placed in such a way? My guess is that this was a poltergeist. We could not figure out how or why this would have happened. If someone broke into the house, then why is nothing missing? Exactly, that was my point. How did the security system not go off if someone did break in? Makes no sense. After that, more weird things would happen. Oh, I forgot that was like a pre-story to the actual story. My friend would always tell me that she sees things, but never went into too much detail. I could tell that it spooked her. One night I was at her place spending the night. We were hanging out on the couch in her living room around 11 p.m. Her parents were already asleep. I must have fallen asleep at some point because she was waking me up telling me let's go to her room to go to bed. The minute I woke up, I felt instant dread. I knew for a fact that something was wrong, and I had this terrible feeling that something was about to harm us. I kept thinking that something was coming for us, but I didn't know what. It just felt like impending doom. I tried to shake it off, but I couldn't. I didn't mention it yet, though. We go to her room, and I start seeing things, kind of like I was hallucinating, but I know for a fact that I was seeing these things. I saw things trying to come into the window. I saw a hand with long fingers creep around her curtain, which she has as a door at the time. It was absolutely terrifying. It sounds terrifying. I started panicking, and I started to tell her that I'm seeing things, and I can't shake the feeling that something bad is there. She looks scared, and she says that she's seeing things too and doesn't want to know what I'm seeing and to just try to go to bed. I could tell she was a bit freaked. Y'all? I lay down and try to go to bed, but I still can't shake this awful feeling. I sat back up and tried to talk myself down. It really wasn't working, so I laid back down, and at the same instant I lay down, everything in the room goes dim, like someone turned off the light, and for a second, I'm paralyzed, and my chest feels heavy, kind of like sleep paralysis, but you weren't asleep. I tried to move or scream and simply could not. This only lasted a few seconds. I was never asleep or anything either. Once I'm able to move again, I look slightly to the right in front of me by her body mirror that she had in her room. I see this weird thing standing there. It's about 3 to 4 feet tall. That's it? I was assuming this thing was going to be giant because a lot of people, when they see these entities and these shadow people and things, they're literally giant. It's about 3 to 4 feet tall with big yellow round eyes. Oh my God, it's the yellow-eyed demon from Supernatural. And a huge smile like the Cheshire Cat, but the teeth are sharp. It had brown fur. What? And ears that look like bear's ears. This thing keeps changing. I just keeps getting weirder and weirder the way this thing looks. I keep thinking, okay, it looks like this in my head, and then you add something else. Now it has fur. The closest thing it looked like to me is those paintings of sleep paralysis or incubus demons. Incubus demons. We're gonna have to look that up after. The ones that sit on your chest. It stood there with its eyes darting left to right and breathing quickly. It was as if it were trying to stay still so I couldn't see it, but it was clear as day right in front of my eyes. I say my friend's name and I tell her I'm seeing something else, and she shushes me and pleads with me to just go to bed. I remember the thing just standing there. I remember just covering my head with the blanket, and I don't know when or how, but I eventually fell asleep. Me and my friend didn't talk about any of this for about a week. One day at the end of English class, I brought it up, just asking her what she thought of the other night and how weird it was. She started to talk about how she was seeing a lot of things but didn't want to talk about it because of how scared she was, which I figured. She then began to describe the exact same creature down to every detail that I saw standing by her mirror in her room. I had never once brought up what I saw or anything about the weird creature/demon standing by her mirror. I just looked at her in complete terror, and we started finishing each other's sentences while describing its features and what it was doing and where it was in the room. We both got so insanely creeped out that we were laughing out of nervousness. Hands down, one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced. We still talked about it for a long time after that. What was that creature/demon? Why did we see it so clearly? What did it want? I have so many questions. Me too. Thank you for reading my weird story. I love you, Auntie Matrix. I love you too. Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this friend was seeing things all the time in that house, which is why she didn't want to talk about it, because, like, you know, a lot of people say if you see something, no, you didn't. Because I guess acknowledging it gives it more power, and you don't want something like that to have any power. Also, my question is, did you sleep over there any more times? Did you experience any more weird things in her house? Did you ever see that thing again? I need to look up what an incubus demon is. Hold on one second. Okay, all the pictures of, like, incubus demon were different, but look at this. When I looked up what it was, an incubus demon is a demon in male form in folklore that seeks to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women. The corresponding spirit in female form is called a succubus. Oh, I've heard of a succubus. I didn't know what it was. Interesting. Incubus and a succubus. A succubus, you get it? Then I tried to look up yellow-eyed creature with fur, and I'm just going to show you what came up because it made me giggle and it'll make you feel a little less scared. Look at this. It's so cute. It's a lemur. Crazy story, man. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 199. Glitch and or aliens on Expressway. Hello, Auntie Matrix. Hi! Thank you for taking the time to read my story. Thank you for sending it. This incident just happened to me around 10 p.m. on Friday night, August 11th, 2023. I'm not sure if I had gotten caught up in a Matrix computer error or an alien arrival. I was leaving my sister's home with two of my nephews, 17 and 13 years old. We were commuting on the expressway, driving the typical speed limit of 60 to 70 miles an hour. The roads were dry, no signs of a storm, and then all all of a sudden, extreme downpour. It was so shocking. My eldest nephew said, wow, no warning at all. Seriously, it just happened without any drizzle alerts. The downpour was so great, I was forced to use my windshield wipers at the highest rate of speed. Unfortunately, this did not help much because we were barely able to see still. FYI, stopping along the third-ranked most dangerous highway in the United States of America wasn't an option ever. Needless to say, although we could only see taillights and the lines of the road, we proceeded forward in hopes of getting off at the nearest exit. All the while, everyone was driving 30 miles an hour or less with their hazard/flasher lights on. Let me preface this. While driving this 5 to 6 lane highway, I was in the far left lane. 2 lanes to my right, this Challenger began to spin out. Again, while driving in this downpour and on the most dangerous highway. The driver of the Challenger spun between 2 to 3 lanes at least 3 to 4 times. While spinning, I noticed the other cars were still traveling. Perhaps they couldn't see what was transpiring given the inclement conditions. I remember thinking, oh my God, we're about to die in a major car pileup. The moment the thought came into my head, I realized we were stopped on the shoulder of the highway while the other cars still proceeded forward. What? I don't know how we got there. I do not recall stopping. In shock and fear, my eldest nephew said aloud, oh my God, is this really happening? I responded, we're okay. I'm allowing the other cars to continue ahead in the Challenger's path. I don't know why I said something so very insensitive. Weird. Here's where it gets even more peculiar. The moment I said that, lightning struck, appearing almost animated just above the spinning car. I kid you not, somehow the Challenger corrected itself in its original lane, never braking or stopping and continuing forward. The way it happened was eerily robotic, similar to pushing a toy car with your hand and making sharp turns. My nephew then says, look at the lightning, it's so cool, almost like a battle in the sky. I cannot even describe in words, it was very computed. Once the spinning car corrected itself, I safely put us back on the highway. A half mile down the road, we approached stopped vehicles. It was weird because we weren't sure why we were stopping. As we drove a bit more, we realized that there was an accident, sedan and a van. One policeman's squad car was attempting to block off. Perhaps the accident had just occurred because no ambulance or other medical personnel was on the scene. However, what we did see was a front end bumper, clothing, empty water bottles, other trash, and debris. Weird because the windows to either of the vehicles weren't open. Remember, it was storming. Although we were pretty much stopped and only traveled at 2 miles an hour to get ahead, it felt as if everything was in slow-mo. I couldn't shake this feeling that we were driving past our accident that we were involved in and ultimately died. My anxiety was 10 out of 10, but I didn't want to display this fear and concern my nephews. Oh, the roads were dry once we exited the highway. What? After dropping them home, I came home and told my boyfriend about the incidents. I repeatedly asked him if I were really alive. I told him I felt like we had died up on the expressway. He responds, you're alive, baby. You simply had a brief encounter with aliens. Now be careful what you ask for. LOL, funny. For several weeks, I had been saying to him, my family, my friends, and colleagues, I'm tired of being with you humans. My alien family is taking their sweet old time to get to me. I swear both incidents happened out of nowhere within 5 minutes and a half a mile apart. So yesterday, my eldest nephew and I shared the experience with our family. They said it was normal occurrence that probably happens often while on wet roads. What do you think? I think don't let these normies tell you that that was a normal experience that happens on fucking wet roads. No, I don't think it was aliens though. Nothing happened in this story to make me think it's aliens. Normally with aliens, you're going to see some sort of craft or something's going to happen, or you're definitely going to have like a time loss, a loss of time. None of that happened. I think it was some weird glitch in the Matrix, probably quantum immortality. I think that you did die because you ended up on the shoulder and you have no idea how you got there. So I feel like your car did crash and you guys did die and you hopped into a different timeline, but maybe there was some like bleed over from the other timeline or something because you saw all that debris and stuff from that little accident, and I feel like all that stuff was probably from the giant accident from the Charger. But the fact though, wait a second, that the Charger had a bolt of weird animated lighting coming down and correcting it like it was pushing the car, maybe that could have been aliens. Oh my God, now I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What do you guys think in the comments? Oh my God, what a crazy story though. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 200! Another level of what the fuck. Hi! Love your content and this one is out there. I still feel crazy 3 years later. Myself and a few friends were using the Randonautica app at night. We got a point. What? Escape the Matrix by traveling to a completely random location. What? The law of attraction meets geocaching. I still don't even understand what that is either, but okay, sure, let's move on. When we got to the road, the friend in the back seat said to keep going forward. There's something down the bottom of the road. I was a passenger and another person was driving the vehicle. We started going down the road and there were fields on both sides and it was a dirt road. All of a sudden, lightning started to strike down on all sides of us. The fields turned to bodies of water and the air smelled highly of rotten eggs. What is happening? There were weird shadows running across the road, which we thought were bigger animals at the time. We kept driving while the driver was terrified as you could no longer see a road and the backseat friend was speaking in an unknown language to us. What is happening? To this day, I have no idea what happened. It took us 15 minutes to get out of whatever storm there was. When we got back to town, it looked like high winds had traveled through the town. This was not a high flash flood area, so we know that that wasn't the case with the black water we saw on either side of it. It was black? The driver refuses to acknowledge any of it happened, while the other person and I have since talked about the incident. Ever since that day, I have had instances where I wake up and just have memories from another timeline. They aren't my current timeline memories. I even have dreams such as where I die, wake up in this timeline, but have all these memories I know didn't happen to this version of me. I have clear, intact memories of things that didn't happen in a dream. I have a very good photographic memory as well. These types of dreams I can also hear, touch, smell, and see in color. My Apple Watch actually caught my heart stopping in one of these dreams in my sleep and coming back later on, which is why I no longer sleep with it on. I've also had it since then where I will wake up and already have a memory of the day and how things will play out. They always play out the same way. I've now taken that information when it happens and used it to make the day better if it was a bad day. I love that you did that. That's really smart. Is this a possible glitch in the Matrix? Maybe a time loop I got stuck in? No idea, but I feel crazy. My now husband, who was my best friend at the time 3 years ago, was outside during the storm and he also saw black bodies of water and there was no longer in his driveway and then suddenly was back in his driveway. Before I even told him what happened to us, he told me about it. Freaked me out back then and still gives me the chills when I think about it. Any ideas are worth hearing. I am at a literal loss for words. I have no idea what that could have been. Has anyone experienced this or something like this? Can anyone weigh in? Like, clearly it sounds like you're living two different timelines, like one when you're asleep and one when you're awake, and you're like living them both at the same time, which we just kind of had a story kind of similar to this the other day. But as far as like the storm that you went through and the shadows and the black bodies of water, like portal? Was that maybe like some sort of weird portal or something? Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 201. The Octopus Lady. Hi, Auntie Matrix. Hi. So a little backstory. There was a phase in my early 20s where I'd have horrible night terrors that felt way too real. I would have dreams of others watching over me or my then boyfriends at the time. Mostly the dreams were of me being chased or watched. The other bizarre thing about these dreams is that they never happened in my home, only in hotel rooms or again, a boyfriend's house. I had at least 2 boyfriends throughout the years where I'd get night terrors every time I'd stay with them. So this particular dream, and I add quotes because to me it wasn't a dream. It was right in my face. One time while visiting my best friend who lives in California, her friends and I all took a trip to Vegas one weekend. There were at least 8 of us all sleeping in one hotel room, all squeezed together because who wants to pay for more than one hotel room? No one. I remember clearly there are 3 or 4 of us squished together onto one of the queen-size beds. I was in the middle. I was sleeping on my back because there was no other way, and I kid you not, I opened my eyeballs to this ugly, sea-like creature only inches away from my face, flying in the air and chanting a bunch of what sounded like demonic spells. This thing was bald, had white skin, fangs, black beady eyes, and tentacles. They were waving around in my face. I saw suction holes on them and all. What? I woke up the entire hotel room from my scream. All 9 of us just sat there in shock, and I'm sure most of them assumed that I was just having a bad dream, which is what any normal person would think. But it was there. It was real, and I saw it in real life, physical form. It was trying to hurt me. I could feel its energy from it being so close to me. Its flying was even picking up enough wind to blow my hair back. It was the most terrifying occurrence. I still feel weird explaining to anyone else. I'll never forget that night. I'm almost 28 now, and I always worry that those dreams will come back, but as of the last 3 years, they're a lot more higher vibrational and calming. It feels like I've unlocked something in my brain, and now my dreams actually take me to a place that feels very familiar and almost like I'm living a double life. I go on a lot of cool quests, it seems, and I wake up in sweats a lot from it, but it's much better than waking up in Why is this like 3rd story in the past week of people talking about that they are living double lives in two different timelines, like one when they're asleep, one when they're awake, but it's like they're living in both. How many more people are experiencing this? And what the fuck was that octopus? I have literally never heard that one in my entire life. Weird. Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 202. Duplicate sweater. Hi, Auntie Matrix. Hi. I've been seeing your TikToks for a good while, and I've seen you since part 1. Hello, my OG friends. I've always had paranormal experiences in my life, but this is the most recent one since it just happened around 6 p.m. It's currently 10, and I can't stop thinking about it. On September 10th, me, my sister, and her son went to Target to buy my nephew's school uniform. Me, my sister, and my nephew went to the kids section, and my nephew needed a sweater for school, and he only gets 4T size clothes. Important. But I told my sister to get him a 5T size so it can last him the whole year. Side note, I miss buying stuff in T sizes. My baby's 10. After we bought it, we were sure we only bought one. But fast forward now, September 15th, me and my sister were cleaning when she found a duplicate of her son's sweater with the price tag still intact as if it was brand new from the store. This was very confusing because school had already started and he had worn that sweater to school with the price tag off. My sister dropped him off with his dad this morning wearing that sweater, only for us to find another one with the same brand, same color, and same size. This is very confusing, and it reminded me of the time someone had found an extra nail while still having their nails on their hand. Oh, I remember seeing that video. This is confusing. Somebody please explain. P.S. I doubt someone had brought him the same one because, like I mentioned before, he only gets 4T clothes except for this one time. She sent a video of it. Hold on.
Hi, Auntie Matrix. So I just wanted to pull out the sweater to show that it was actually the duplicate that showed up in my sister's closet when we found it. And here's the proof. Here's the date or what time it is. I just wrote this, like I said. We found it around 6 p.m. It's already 10. So I don't know if this is like an alternate universe, what happened, but please let us know.
You know what would be really funny is if something happens to his one sweater that you guys bought him, like it rips or gets lost or like gets a huge stain on it and you need another one, and there, poof, you have another one. That's so crazy. I love when people have like duplicate shit popping over from other timelines. I mean, that's my best guess, right? That concludes our creepy compilation for today. If you enjoyed this, you might also enjoy catching me live on TikTok where we hang out, read people's stories, and chat about them. We have an awesome community of open, loving, and accepting people where our motto is, we believe you. That community extends to Discord as well. Please come and join us in Discord. You can hang out with like-minded people, and I have an announcements channel where I announce things like when I'm going live on TikTok, when I'm posting a new YouTube video, when I'm dropping new merch. It's just a good place to be. You can get the links to my TikTok, my Discord, and everything else over at tecvision.com, linked in the description. In the meantime, you might want to keep it going here and check out this video or this playlist.